the first like story that like sticks out in my brain would have been Undertaker locking Ultimate Warrior in the casket.
Oh, yeah.
And then they had to like drill it, and then they went off air. And I remember like running to the
What
kitchen,
happened?
telling my mom like, oh, the Ultimate Warrior is gonna die. Like they locked him in. Like what's gonna happen? So
That's so cute. Yeah, that's great.
yeah.
Oh, what's your story? Don't you dare be sour. Clap for Stephanie and feel the power.
Welcome to What's Your Story with Steph McMahon, a WWE and Fanatics original production. Well, I'm going to give something away.
Come on.
When I have the mic in my left hand, it means I'm going to slap the shit out of somebody with my right. That's the only time I
Like
hold
the
it in
old
the
Bret
left
Hart
hand.
when he wears the wrist tape. You know he's gonna do a blade job.
Yeah, so that's the only time I'll ever hold a mic in my left hand.
Okay. Well, if I ever see it in the left hand, I'm running.
Forever
I'm running,
across
yeah.
the ring from each other, and I'm cutting a promo with my left hand,
You'll
holding
see
the
me
mic.
backing out like Homer
Yep,
Simpson.
you better watch out.
Tomorrow night at Hall of Fame, we see you in your left hand.
Oh yeah,
We know
oh
what's
yeah.
coming.
Watch out, the whole front row. I'm gonna run down, and instead of like slapping hands, I'm just gonna slap
Yeah.
everybody's face as I run by.
This is kind of a great idea. I'm in.
So clearly, this episode's being recorded before WrestleMania, as we are talking about the Hall of Fame. And we were, this is all, we started recording a little bit ago. So you and I were talking about talking.
Yep.
And you said that it's something you actually don't like to do in general. And you seem to intimate there might be a reason why, and you might know what that is.
I don't know if there's a reason. I think there's like different types of people in the world.
Okay,
And like some
okay.
people like to be the center of attention and like to have their voice heard or like to tell stories. And like, I mean this with the greatest respect towards one of my colleagues, Cody, but like, I feel like although we love wrestling, we're very different personalities.
Sure.
Yeah.
In the sense that when he enters a room, he wants to be the center of attention and likes to entertain and likes to tell stories. Where I would rather probably not even enter the room. and
Stay home.
if I did, I just want to like blend into the background a little bit and just be an observer more than like a participant. But it kind of contradicts everything
That's
with
what I'm- that was what
regards
I was
to
gonna
wrestling
ask.
because wrestling is like how I express myself. And I
Right.
feel like I express myself better like physically with like my performance than I do speaking. So that's why I've kind of, especially like in the last couple of years, kind of like shied away from doing media, podcasts, public speaking, everything. I love to wrestle.
Right?
And if I know other things come with it, and I know if perhaps I invested more time in the speaking part, I know it would be better for my career, but it's just something that I'm not willing to give.
Finn, oh my God, are you all right? Like,
No, I'm great.
I mean,
it's my
it's
way.
just-
It's my way of like
but did
managing
you, do you
all this
feel
attention.
and you just prefer it that way? It's not like you're saying, "I wish I started earlier," because you have never seemed uncomfortable on the mic.
Well,
I mean,
my
but let me
journey-
also say though, like to your point, how there are different personalities, different people. There are different characters too, right? Not every character has to be verbose.
Yeah.
And you have so much creativity with your character, especially when you can bring the demon in, and
And this little guy behind me.
yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll put it up on the screen,
Yes, available at WWE Shop.
WWE Shop. But I think you have a lot of mystique, right? And so when you don't talk a lot, it adds to the mystique. And you have like the cool guy, quiet guy sort of vibe,
You can keep these compliments
Yeah.
coming. I like
That's
this.
what I'm saying.
You keep
Like
talking.
that,
I'll just keep listening.
It's
That's
a
what I'm good
vibe,
at.
and
Yeah.
it's cool, and it's you, and it's different, and that's good. It's good to be different.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's like
A problem,
like
yeah.
a problem. It's just
You're
I
different.
feel like it's one part of the job that I don't excel at, but it's a part of the job that I don't even necessarily want to excel at.
Right.
Like I just want to be in the ring, performing, in the back with the boys, hanging out, and do my job. Not so
What
much.
about the promotion though?
See, that's the thing. I understand the promotional aspect of it, and when I'm asked, "Hey, we need you to do this," obviously I'm gonna do it. But
Right.
if it's a choice of, "Hey, would you like to go to this event or walk this red carpet?" I'll be like, I'm
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
You know?
That's cool. You know, as long as you get yourself out there when you're promoting your own matches. But even then, you don't have to, you can be how you're comfortable being, you know, like be a man of few words. You know, what you say matters, but it doesn't have to be a whole lot, you know, and you don't have to answer a ton of questions. Like it can be your whole thing.
See, I feel like I'm better in this type of an environment where it's a real conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, the worst possible scenario is something like a morning show where you're like sitting on a couch and you have to do like a 90-second hit and like get all this information out and try and sell the product, where it's not like, it's not my personality.
Yeah.
You know, I would rather have like a long, in-depth conversation and touch on all these things
Right.
instead of just like, hey, the show's on Monday, it's at 8:00.
Right.
Be
Right.
there,
Right.
watch it on
Yeah.
Netflix, you know?
No, but you need to be able to growl
I-
at your
yeah.
opponent.
And that's another thing. That's another thing that's been really difficult for me in my career is that like trash talking. And like I'm not willing to like sacrifice like my dignity to like say these things that like I don't mean.
Right.
Because like, and again, I know it would be better for like retweets.
So you don't
and
feel
all this.
like you're playing a character. You feel like you're more being yourself.
I feel like I got to this position being myself, so I shouldn't change that ever. And I kind of,
So
I
how do
started
you
in I started in
then-
England, right?
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
it was mostly based on mat wrestling, and then I went to Japan, and it was based on like strong style wrestling. There was no like promos. So the first time I actually had to do a promo was when I came to NXT.
Really?
And I remember being so nervous because the NXT taping, I had to come out and say, I'm Finn Balor and I'm the future. And I remember being so nervous.
Really?
Having to like remember that line. What is that line? And just because that becomes acting. When I'm wrestling, I'm not acting.
Right.
I'm
You're
like
feeling it.
in flow.
Yeah,
I'm like
yeah.
I'm just like going with my emotions, following like what I believe is right in my heart to do. But as soon as the speaking part started, that was like a real learning curve. And like I've gotten a little bit better at it over the 12, 13 years that I'm here. But I've been wrestling, say, 25 years. I've been doing promos 13. So it's like
Right.
I'm way behind with like that experience in promos.
But I don't. Well, I mean, it's whatever you're comfortable doing, you know. And I think if there's like a cool hand Luke, I do think a character lens is helpful, you know, because sometimes you do have to, you know, promote the match, but figure out a way to do it where it's like unique to you and what you're feeling, and make it real, even if you don't talk so much, right? I mean, this is just like my opinion.
Yeah.
So
no.
do whatever with
and,
it.
And one thing I've kind of like only started to learn recently, and I'll credit Paul Heyman with this,
Okay.
because he said like you got to treat your promos like your matches,
Like a match,
Like you're not nervous going into your match. You don't know every move you're going to do. You're just flowing, and you're there, and you're in that state. But your promos, you're trying to memorize every word.
Yeah. Yeah. You
And
don't
that's-
want to
and that-
memorize.
and that's not how you execute your matches. That's not how you should execute your promos. So recently I've kind of been taking that more on board.
Yeah.
And not having like, hey, I need it to sound exactly like this word for word, just like the couple bullet points.
Right.
And that's really helped a lot.
Good. Then that's the way you should do it. I typically, you know, it's like I always try to reduce my promo to three things. And it's like, basically, you need to know how you want to end first.
Yeah.
Right. Because the finish is always the biggest part of the match. Right. And it's what people will remember. And this is something, of course, that I was taught by my dad too, is like you can go see a terrible movie, but if it has a great ending, you're like, oh, I don't know, kind of paid off, right?
Yeah.
And then you can see a great movie, but if it has a terrible ending,
Yeah.
oof, wasn't such a great movie after all.
I was with
right?
it until that last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it like ruins the experience. So the same thing with the promo. You always want to know how you want to end it, and you want to know how you want to begin it, and you want to just tell a story in the middle.
Well, thank you, and I will take you up on that advice.
All
And
right,
next
all
time
right.
I'm on Raw and I'm looking down the barrel of the lens, I'm gonna be thinking, Stephanie McMahon taught me how to do this, and you're going down, Dominic.
I feel like if you need any trash talking tips too, she's
No, there's the old days. The old
How
days.
long have you been doing promos?
I mean, since
When was
I
what age was your first promo at?
like 22. Wow. I mean, right? I don't know. Around then, anyway. Yeah, pretty early.
I'll never forget. I'll tell a story about Dominic.
Okay.
So, Dominic comes into the Judgment Day, and he's just turned from babyface to heel, and we're going out to deliver our first group Judgment Day promo on Raw. And you know, I'd kind of told Ray, "Hey, I'm going to look out for Dominic if he needs any help. Like, I'll try and like guide him as best I can." And we're about to go out for the promo. We're in Gorilla, and I say, "Hey, Dominic, like, do you want to come outside Gorilla and like go over your promo with me?" So we go outside Gorilla and I say, "Okay, so do you want to like tell me what you're gonna say just to like rehearse it and practice it?" And he goes, "I'm not sure what I'm gonna say, dog." Well, he's like, "Are you okay? Do you want to talk to a writer?" So I said, "No, I'll figure it out when I'm out there." And like that's been like him like for the last like 4 years in the Judgment Day. He's just like he's just so easy going.
so impressive.
I was more stressed for him than he was for
You're like,
himself.
oh my God, what's going to happen out there?
And of course it was electric. They booed him out the building. Like,
Oh,
gonna
he's
say,
got such great
he
heat.
couldn't even talk, right? Was it the night?
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah.
Worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and I remember
loud.
like standing in the ring that night and they were booing and going, "Oh my God." Because at the time it was kind of positioned to put Dominic with the Judgment Day so the Judgment Day could help Dominic.
Right.
But like pretty much from day one, it was Dominic helping the Judgment Day. With that heat, it just like
he's
took
so
us to the
over.
next level. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Because I always felt like I was swimming like upstream, like trying to be heel. I feel like it never fully...
Where are you the most comfortable?
I feel like wrestling, I'm more comfortable being a heel, but I don't feel like that's my best position, so to speak. I think I can probably perform better as a babyface and get the people to accept me more as a babyface than a heel. And I don't know, is that over time? I don't know, is that to do with people getting to learn about my personality through things like this?
Right?
I don't know, but I feel
But,
like
and how do people not know you? Because have you just not done very much? Do you think people do know you? Because I think a lot of people know you. So it's funny for me to hear you say you feel like they don't. Like, you feel like they know the a version of you, or
Yeah, they know the version that I allowed them to see, but I allowed them to see very little, like a little sliver.
yeah,
And
because it's hard to be
and that
vulnerable.
little sliver literally became a thing in NXT. Nobody knew anything about me before NXT. It was just Prince Devitt. He's a wrestler. He wrestles hard, and he does his best, but he doesn't really.
Well, and you were responsible for a bit of a culture shift in Japan, right?
a couple of us, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Pretty cool, right? You don't
Yeah.
think people...
No, that was cool, but again, it wasn't them getting to know me as a person. It like
Right. It was still
it was
this
still a
portrayal
gimmick
of you.
and it was an image. But the first time I kind of like let my guard down fully was we done like a 15, 20 minute like documentary when I joined NXT, and I talked about like how I like to use Lego to like relax and like build
Yeah.
Lego like for meditation, and that was like. I seen like the floodgates open with like the amount of attention that brought, and that brought more attention than like my matches. And
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, it was so interesting that like people were more into, oh, he's into Lego, like he does
Well, they
normal
finally
things.
learned
Yeah,
something
yeah.
about you,
Yeah.
right? That was unexpected, I think.
Very unexpected,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Summer is coming up, and there are so many things to do. Concerts, sports, and of course, WWE. With over 35 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app. There are more than 70,000 events listed on SeatGeek. MLB is in full swing, the NBA and NHL playoffs are here, And you can now get World Cup tickets on SeatGeek. Plus, there are tons of great artists going on tour like Bruno Mars, Ariana Grande, BTS, and many more. SeatGeek always has your back. Each ticket is rated on a scale of 1 to 10, so you know you're getting a good deal. So look for the green dots. Green means good, red means bad. Plus, every ticket is backed by their buyer guarantee. And of course, I have a code for you guys. You can use code STORY10 for 10% off your next set of tickets at SeatGeek. That's 10% off any tickets with your promo code STORY10. Make sure you click the link in the description to download the app and have the code automatically added to your account so you can use it later. Thank you, SeatGeek. So how'd you get into Legos?
Since I was a kid, always. Yeah.
Yeah, always.
Yeah.
What was
Never grew out
your
of it.
favorite thing that you built that you remember when you were a kid? Like, was there one project you were just so proud of?
Yeah, there was like a castle. Yeah, that I've recently looked for online to try and
Really?
like relive my childhood as we all try and
should
do.
anyone out there,
They have the Disney castle.
Yeah, I'm not really into
know.
the
But so what year?
branded
Circa
Legos.
what? Like for anybody online who can find the castle.
Would have been around 1995, probably
All right.
94, 95.
All right. You heard it here.
My other favorite one that I built recently, well, not recently, like when I was in NXT, was like one of the pirate ships with like the red and white
Yeah.
stripes. I love those ones.
Yeah.
I liked like the Lego, like the non-branded
kits.
stuff, the kits.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the police station, the fire
Yeah.
station, that type of stuff. Yeah.
And then they started to do like a tree house and
Yeah, yeah.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
I would do that with the girls.
My husband does this, and I feel like I've made fun of him. But I call him my man-child because he comes home from work and he sits and he's like, I just got to do a few pages. And he builds Legos and he says it's relaxing. It's kind of his like decompress before the kids get home. And now I know he's not alone.
Yeah.
So
there's
what
a
do you
lot of
think
kids.
that is?
Uh,
Just is it like the
you
extreme
really-
focus of it, the
focus.
creation of
No,
it? Is it?
it's both, but it's mostly the focus. You can't be thinking of anything else when you're like
while
you're trying to
put
make
it
sure
together.
the pieces are going together.
And you find working out doesn't do that? It's not enough?
Working out's like a chore.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
but it's a chore that I absolutely have to do.
Right.
Like for my mental
There's no-
well-being.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if I don't do it, like I'll be grouchy, grumpy.
Right.
So
And you obviously have trained for a very long time. And do you ever cheat? Like ever?
like cheat meals.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Really? Because Paul said, he goes, I've never seen Finn ever cheat. He's like, he's the type of guy who pats his chicken with a napkin to dry the grease off.
Yeah. So I'll be honest. I went a little like too extreme from about like 2010 to like around 2022 was like
Good
too
stretch.
extreme.
Yeah.
But my wife has been a big influence in like me exploring more delicious foods.
Oh, good.
So, and normally I'll try and like have a cheat meal at least every 2 weeks.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
but
you're getting
mostly,
there.
yeah, but mostly once a week, like I'll get like a cheeseburger or something.
Okay.
Or, yeah,
A
fries.
little-
Yeah.
And with fries, do you eat the bread?
I eat the bread. Yeah,
Yeah,
I have
eat
to
the
go
whole
all
thing.
in, or it's not a
Okay.
cheat.
All right,
Yeah,
yeah.
'cause
All right, okay.
I need to feel like shit afterwards.
Yeah. Well,
Sorry
and,
for the
and
language.
that's what I was wondering is,
to like
true
then
cheat
punish
meal.
myself
Yeah.
for the next
but
couple
10,
days.
12 years of eating clean. Like, what was your body's reaction the first time you explored tastier food, as you put it?
I say like 10, 12 years of eating clean, but like, for example, if I went home to my mom's, like,
Right.
and she's made a cheesecake, like, I'm not going to turn that down.
Right.
So,
okay.
like, but I'm not going to just, oh, well, it's Wednesday
cheesecake
and I'm
big in
bored. I'm going to
Ireland?
get a, what's that?
Cheesecake big in Ireland?
My mom's one is, yeah. Oh. Yeah, it's delicious.
Yeah, I never really heard of Irish cheesecake.
Yeah.
It's probably more along the lines of the way I make it.
So it's like digestive biscuits crushed up in butter as the
Mm. I
base.
do Oreo base.
Okay.
Wow, I'm in.
And then kind of like a creamy, it's not really cheese flavor. I don't know why it's called cheesecake, but it's kind of like
Well,
a
because
creamy.
it's made with cheese, either cream cheese or ricotta cheese, or maybe something else that your mom uses.
Possibly. she's flying in later tonight, so
Okay,
I'll ask
we
her
can
then.
ask
the
her to
recipe.
join the pod.
We can maybe scroll the recipe along the bottom of the screen here.
That's great.
So, how did you fall in love with wrestling?
Watching it on TV. I remember when I was like super young, like 4 or 5 years old, the only way you could get the soccer results in Ireland was by watching the World of Sport wrestling on Sunday afternoon.
How smart.
So my granddad would be watching the wrestling, but my dad would be watching the wrestling to see the soccer results. And I
Right.
would just be a passenger, right? Just like sitting there looking at the TV. And that was like World of Sports. It was very different, but like I was curious about it. But then like soon after that, Sky TV came to Ireland. And then it was like, I think it was Superstars was on Saturday morning with Sean Mooney.
Right.
And that's like, that just hooked me straight away. And from that young age, like I never kind of grew out of it.
What was the first story that hooked you?
WrestleMania 6 would have been Hogan Warrior.
Wow.
It doesn't really stick out in my brain too
No.
much, like what happened, but I remember like staying up with my pillow on the couch, because in Ireland that was at 1 a.m.
Yeah.
Right? So like I had to stay up with my brother and stuff and watch it. The first like story that like sticks out in my brain would have been Undertaker locking Ultimate Warrior in the casket.
Oh, yeah.
And then they had to like drill it. And then they went off air. And I remember like running to the
What
kitchen,
happened?
telling my mom like, oh, the Ultimate Warrior is going to die. Like they locked him in. Like what's going to happen? So
That's so cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
yeah.
And she was like, no, I'm sure he's
Yeah,
okay.
no, he's okay. And then
go
you
to
had to
bed.
wait a full 7 days as a child to figure out if he's alive.
Right?
you
Because
know?
there's
Yeah.
no
There
social
was no-
media,
yeah,
there's no
internet.
nothing, no
Yeah.
phones.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had to wait for the TV.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's much easier to write TV that way, I'm sure.
Yeah, I don't know how the guys do it now. There's so
Right.
much hours of content to produce.
It's insane.
And that's another issue I have with everything, including wrestling, is like I don't really know what's good or bad anymore. Because like it's not like I'm so close to the elephant I can't see it's even an elephant. You
Right.
Because I've been wrestling so long, it's like, does this make sense, or am I being stupid? Have I done? Does everyone do this? And I try and like make my stuff look different, and I really don't know what's good or bad anymore. So it's really good to have like a good producer or someone to like a third set of eyes to like look at it and go, oh.
But Finn, can't you tell in the ring by the sound of the people?
Yeah, I can tell in the ring,
Yeah.
but like if I'm beforehand trying to like come up
Trying
with
to figure it
like
out.
an idea
Okay.
or something, I'm like, does that make sense?
Right, like I
I'm
want to
like,
try this,
Yeah,
but yeah.
no, that's stupid. And then like, some, for example, moves that I think are stupid, then would become like signature moves. Like there was a move, no, but there's a move I do all the time. Like I'll have the guy sunset flip and I'll roll through and drop kick.
Yeah.
And like, I was just looking for something like to fill a spot
Like
in
a
a match.
transition. Yeah.
And I thought, I was fresh out of Japan. I had just started in NXT, and my old tag team partner, Taguchi in Japan, done this move. And sometimes we would do it together where we would like do it in stereo
same
where we
time,
don't,
yeah.
yeah. And I said, you know what, maybe I could just do that move I used to do with Taguchi. And I done it and the place popped. And then the next time was a little more and a little more. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
this isn't something that I would have thought would catch on.
But it did.
Yeah, but it did. And it's,
You never know.
you never know.
You
yeah.
never know. That's
Yeah.
part of the fun,
Yeah.
right?
Just like throwing stuff at the wall, see what
Yeah.
sticks. Yeah.
It's like, but it's true.
Yeah.
And there are moments in time in our business that, it catches fire.
Yeah.
And it feels like we're close to a moment like that. And I hope that feeling is right. Hunger strikes and you're exhausted. There's something healthy in your fridge or pantry that you should be making, but you just don't have it in you. Factor solves that setup problem with fully prepared meals designed by dietitians and crafted by chefs, delivered right to your door. Factor has meals built around your goals, whether that's weight loss, overall nutrition, more protein, or GLP-1 support. For strength and workout recovery, check out Factor's Muscle Pro collection. Fresh, never frozen, ready in 2 minutes. Factor shops, preps, cooks, and delivers straight to your door, so you have more time for everything you love this spring. Plus 70 plus add-ons to round out your nutrition, from green juices to peanut butter energy bites. Head to factormeals.com/Steph50off and use code STEPH50OFF to get 50% off and free daily greens per box with new subscription only while supplies last until September 27th, 2026. See website for more details. What is your favorite movie?
Oh.
Or like one of? And what were American movies big where you were growing up?
Yeah, like all well,
Because
not like
movies now aren't. Everything's different.
yeah. I'd say like the super big hitters like Home Alone and all that stuff
Yeah.
would have been
Oh, yeah.
huge. But like things like The Goonies and stuff didn't make
Never-
it to
it
Ireland.
didn't.
At least not in my house.
Right.
Because like when I came to NXT, like people would be talking about this Goonies. I was like, what are they talking about?
Goonies has stood the test of time, I have
Yeah.
to say. Have you now seen the Goonies?
I've never seen it like all the way through, but I've seen like
Oh.
little snippets. Is this my homework for tonight?
You have
Yes.
to watch it.
Forget everything else. Sit
And
down.
there's an indirect connection to WWE because the Goonies theme song is sung by Cyndi Lauper, who definitely has a history
Yeah.
with WWE and the rock and wrestling connection.
I like sci-fi movies.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Sunshine is a great one.
Okay.
With Cillian Murphy, and Interstellar
He's
was a
great.
good one.
I
He's
love
great.
Cillian
Yeah.
Murphy.
Yeah, he's great.
Interstellar
Peaky
was
Blinders
good.
is awesome. I haven't seen the movie yet. But
Yeah.
we've watched all the seasons like 3
the
times
shows?
through.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Have you seen Peaky Blinders?
I've seen season 1 and 2.
Okay.
I actually watched that when I was rehabbing my shoulder.
Oh,
That-
good.
That injury. So
Good binge.
kinda, yeah, but then if I think about that, I think about the rehab, and I just go, I'm not going to watch the rest of it anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, it soured
Yeah.
you. That's too
Plus,
bad.
it was at the time where like you had to wait a week for the next episode, and I would always
Oh.
like forget. You know, like
Yeah. The binge is where it's at. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm annoyed right now at the pit.
Oh, I've heard about this.
'Cause
Even my
it's-
brother
I
told
have
me
to
about
wait.
this. Yeah.
And it's Thursdays at 9:00. Oh. You can't watch the next episode. But go back to sci-fi.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your faves.
Yeah, like Interstellar, Sunshine. I used to be into Star Wars, not so much anymore. But right now, I'm more into like documentaries and
Really?
like actual like movies based on history. Like I watched Nuremberg recently. It was fantastic.
Wow.
Yeah. But most of my free time is spent watching YouTube videos about ancient history.
Really?
Yeah.
You and my husband alike.
Yeah.
He loves that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did
and
you watch the Netflix series? Like
Ancient Apocalypse?
Yes.
Yeah, with Graham
Yeah.
Hancock. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fantastic.
Yeah.
And that's a great like gateway
Have you
for
seen it?
people like to explore this topic.
pretty cool.
It's my
yeah.
homework.
But yeah, there's a lot of guys out there.
So the problem is it puts me to sleep. And I don't mean the concept. Like I'm fascinated.
yeah.
It's his voice
Yeah.
and the way he speaks
Yeah.
and the sounds
Yeah.
and the way it's like Bob Ross.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
I find myself going to sleep. But it is fascinating.
Yeah.
I wish that I was paying attention more. So what has you like hooked right now about it?
Well, there's a couple of YouTube pages I watch. Ancient Architects is one of them. History for Granite is another one. And EXT, our mutual friend,
Yes.
he has a YouTube page that I follow. And it's just like anything about ancient Egypt, like Turkey. There's crazy ancient history in Turkey, Peru, Bolivia.
Do you want to go
I
see
want to
it?
go. I want to go to all those places.
Yeah. And does your wife want to travel too?
She wants to travel to Turkey for sure. She's super interested in Constantinople.
That's great.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So we'd love to go there.
And how did she get into it? Because
She's always been into history, and she's especially into like mid 1900s, like Renaissance period.
Yeah.
And we've been to like Rome and Florence a few times. She's super into the Medici family.
Oh wow.
Yeah, yeah. So she's like really read up on that.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah. I go like a little older. Well, a lot older. Yeah.
How much older are you than her?
No, I mean like in the history
I
terms.
know, but I mean, are you?
2 years in real
Oh,
life.
oh,
Yeah,
no, okay.
yeah. Barely 2 years.
I didn't know if there was a connection there to age differential, but
No. No, yeah, her stuff is about 500 years old. Her history, like that she likes, and mine's like about 4,000.
Wow.
4,000 plus.
that's super cool.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
I'm just fascinated by like
But I
what
mean,
did
why?
the world look like back then?
Yeah.
And like what machinery did they have, or what techniques did they have that we clearly don't have now?
Right.
That they used to like build all these structures and cut these stones and move these stones. So
So you're interested in what as well in the pyramids and how they seem to have discovered the
I don't buy that.
everything that's underneath. You
No,
don't?
I think that's been debunked pretty
Has
solidly.
it? I don't know. I've heard a lot of things that don't say that.
We can agree to disagree.
Okay, I only know third hand
Yeah.
from listening to various podcasts, so certainly no
I-
research done on my part.
Like of course, like I wanted that to be true more than anyone, but I've really researched it a lot, and until like there's more evidence,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna buy it.
Sure, because
Yeah.
it right
like I want
now
it to be
it's just
true.
one type of technology, right? That can see and that can't see very
Yeah,
well,
it's like
right?
synthetic aperture radar.
But so there's better tech coming. Like you'll
There's like
know
a
soon
shovel
enough.
you can use, and you can just dig down and see what's there. You know?
So, but now, would you? Here's a real question:
Yeah.
Would you go into the sort of claustrophobic tunnels? What I'm going to call it?
So that's obviously like bucket list for me. Like,
Really?
yeah, to go in there. But little known fact about me is I'm hyper claustrophobic.
Really?
To the point where like I can't even have a window seat on the airplane.
Really?
Like I would rather a middle seat than a window because it's like one less person to like jump over, you know?
But the window doesn't give you like that saving space.
No,
of,
that's like the wall, and now there's two
It's-
people
it's
here,
not
and I'm like, if there's a
outside, no,
wall on
you're
this side
in.
and two people here, I'm like, oh no, I'm freaking out.
You might be the first person ever to say they prefer the middle seat.
That's but so
Not over
how
an
do
aisle,
you-
obviously.
Okay,
but yeah.
what would be your mental game in the chamber then? Now here you are, you've been climbing for like
I'm trying to take them there.
I was gonna, but I won't go too deep. But it's like, say maybe even 5 minutes, right? Not even that long. You're in the pyramid.
Yeah, in the King's Chamber.
And you're like, things are starting to feel tight
Yeah.
and constricted. And now there's a line of people behind you. And if you were to turn around, they all have to turn around.
No, I'm not turning around in this situation. This
You're
is the
going.
pyramids once
You're
in a
going
lifetime
for it.
opportunity.
So
Yeah,
how do
I'm
you
going.
get there in your head? How do you overcome
The
that
same
kind
way
of
you-
claustrophobia?
The same way you overcome like not wanting to go to the gym. Like you just put your sneakers on.
Just do it.
And then like you pick up your bag.
There's
and
no
that's
other
one-
option.
Yeah, like it's one step in front of the other. Yeah.
Yeah, no other option.
Yeah.
That's sort of how you approach things.
Yeah, and especially if I'd flown all the way from United States or Ireland all the way to Egypt, I'm not gonna like chicken out at like the
Right.
last
So
10
what is
meters.
your end goal? Like how deep do you want to go in there? Deep as you
core.
can?
I want to go into like the King's Chamber and like lay down in the granite box
Wow.
Yeah.
Can you do that?
if you know the right people.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't think it's even that.
No,
I think
no, I'm
it's
just
like
teasing.
literally the people that you know. Yeah. Yeah. But
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So Peru is some place.
and
I'd
what
love to
do
go.
you believe? And are you, I know you're a creative thinker, but you seem to be a very fact-based person.
Yeah.
So, like, what is your perspective?
So
given all that?
I went down the traditional, like storyline, I guess, of history, and then I kind of like swerved a little bit to like an alternative history, like of what's been thought. But now I think I'm back to the traditional.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah, the more like I research,
Because
and
the
more.
other theory is that there was advanced technology here before, right?
I definitely think there was advanced technology, but what
What
that
type?
is, I don't
Yeah.
know. It could have been like humming to like like some sort of like frequencies
Mm.
or sounds that like we understood different.
Yeah,
I'm not necessarily talking about like cranes and saws,
right.
but there was something that those people knew that we can't do now.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, like there's no way they can like build it that
I've
precise.
heard theories about sound wave technology
Yeah.
and the things it can do.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
I've heard conspiracy theories, right? That
Yeah,
like
and
now,
look,
then the government came in and changed the frequency of what you can listen to and all
Yep,
that stuff.
yep,
Yeah.
and they changed the colors of the lights
Yeah,
so they
and the
make us more
wattage and all
tired.
that, yeah.
But I like
I don't know. It might be
like
true.
all these conspiracies are like super interesting and like can be like super attractive.
Sure.
But but nobody's going to that much trouble to like pull the wool over people's eyes. Maybe there is some truth in the fact that the wattage has changed and it is worse for us, but I don't think that was someone going, "Ooh,
We
I have a
can't-
plan.
yeah.
I'm gonna mess up all the people by changing the light bulbs." Like, like our Wi-Fi is
know.
gonna poison
Never
everyone.
know.
It's my plan. Like, you know?
Evil mastermind.
Yeah.
I know that was.
Snidely Whiplash. Have you seen Age of Disclosure?
Yes.
So what do you think about that? UFOs.
Age of Disclosure was it's-
UAPs now?
again, that would be UAPs.
UAPs.
Yeah, unidentified anomalous phenomenon, I think it means. So
I don't know
basically,
why I had to change from UFO.
I think it's to do with like the zeitgeist and like UFO had such a bad connotation and like
Yeah,
little
and I
green
guess
aliens in a
these things seem to go in and out of water as well.
exactly, yeah,
So it's not just flying.
exactly. You know your stuff.
Yeah.
I'm learning.
Wow. Yeah. What was the question again about? Age of Disclosure. Yeah, that's kind of Ancient Apocalypse and Age of Disclosure would be like the perfect gateway documentaries into those topics.
Yeah.
But like most of Age of
That's
Disclosure,
where
I knew already. Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's super interesting. Really, really interesting stuff. And there's like, it's like it's weird because everyone has a phone, so you think there should be more evidence of these alien or even this phenomenon in the sky, whether it's an orb or a craft, but there's not a lot.
Right?
But there's still a lot of like people talking about it. There's like way too many people
so have
talking
you seen
about
the Bob Lazar story?
Yeah, and S Ford, his new like documentary came out last week about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good too.
Yeah.
And that's a real good, because I'd heard Bob Lazar's story for many years, but I guess now you can like visualize it because he's been
Right.
part of like I guess they used some sort of AI imagery to like create what he described.
I,
And then,
I think they made it by hand even.
you're
I
right,
think it was
yeah, yeah.
They used some AI because I just listened to them on Rogan, on
Oh,
Joe
yeah,
Rogan.
yeah.
So that's how
Yeah.
I knew about it. But I think it was made by hand.
Yeah, it was made, yeah, I think maybe,
but recreated.
Yes.
And Bob Lazar said it looks
yeah.
absolutely specifically what it was.
And that's what Logan has a video of.
Oh, have you talked to Logan?
I haven't talked to him, but I seen the video he put out the other day.
Oh, what video did he put out the other day? Did he put it out? He did put it out. And nobody thinks it's anything?
Well, you can't really
supposed
see
to
much
release
in
it
it.
on our
That's the
pod.
problem, right? Is
Right,
like
it's hard to-
like everyone says there's so many people talk about it, but there's
Yeah.
so little credible evidence.
Except these
but-
saucers that Bob Lazar seems to have.
But that's
Come in contact
that's
with.
one person saying it, right? And we have to believe him.
Well, but no, it's not, because then it's you add in the Age of Disclosure people.
Yeah.
And now there's more people.
But what I'm saying is there's lots of people saying lots of things.
Yeah, that's true.
But
show us
there's
the proof.
we don't have anything physically. So there is some truth
Do you
to it,
believe
I'm
we
sure.
walked
But
on the moon?
do I believe in what?
That we walked on the moon as people?
I've gone back and forth over this for years, and I'm back on the side that we did go. But I also have a feeling maybe we didn't stop going.
That we didn't get out?
Well, we just like we've been going the whole time since the 70s, and they just don't
And we
publicize
just haven't talked about it?
Yeah,
That's interesting.
like they have some
I
crazy.
think I don't
advanced
know.
tech.
How could you launch a rocket with people not knowing? Seems like
Might not be a rocket.
you think our technology's already advanced past that, and
Well,
we
there's so
haven't-
much money wasted in like black budget projects.
right?
That like where's
Wouldn't
that
it be
going?
nice to know it was actually getting used somewhere?
Got like
at the
got a
moon.
space
Right?
elevator to
that
the
it's
moon.
not just vanishing.
Look, I want to believe in all these crazy
Yeah, I
conspiracies.
don't know. They're
I
just also
I'm on the
fascinating.
fence. I'm super into them. Like I love entertaining them. But like if it came to the crunch, if like on camera, like on the record,
Right? You're taking a polygraph.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna lean on the no. But I do.
But you're a storyteller.
I do believe there's alien life. I do believe alien life has visited Earth. I just don't know in like what context.
Yeah.
You know, are
When-
we like an ant farm for them? You know, and they're
Right,
just coming
right.
and monitoring us.
Oh, yeah. I've heard that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that we were engineered.
Yeah, I've heard all that
Yeah.
stuff too.
What if they're messing with the lights?
It's possible.
New theory.
Yeah.
Then there's other stories about like they've been here all along. They live like under the ground.
Yeah,
They're not coming
or
from
in
outer
the water.
space. Yeah,
Right.
underwater. Yeah. But
Lots of
I'll
theories.
literally like I won't give you any good content about this. I'm gonna go, yeah, it could be real, could be not. I'm super interested in it. Like, and
Well, no, it's just-
I'll waste most of my free time on these type of
See,
topics.
that's where it's
But-
that's where it's a great conversation.
Yeah, but I'm not like I'm not like attached to either
You're not
side.
a believer, so to speak.
I believe everything. I believe
Right.
I believe
I
it's
mean,
true
you're
and I believe
not,
it's fake.
Like
Yeah.
one
You know,
way,
like,
you're not hard
I
one
believe
way
the
or
guys who
other.
Yeah.
debunk it, and I believe the guys
Yeah,
who
it's
say
all
it.
interesting.
MH370 is another one. Have you looked down that
No, I
rabbit
haven't
hole?
seen that one.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
There's a couple good documentaries about how
Okay.
that was teleported through a wormhole.
No.
Yeah, as a shot, as like a show of strength from the government towards China. There's a guy, Ashton Forbes. If you look up
Okay,
him, he goes
okay.
into it in depth.
All right, we've got it.
And
So
again, it's
I don't have
banana.
to
It's
remember all.
banana
Gotcha.
stuff, but like
Okay,
it's super
I'm gonna
entertaining.
look. Yeah, I'm totally gonna look. Well, it's so fun,
Yeah,
right? I
yeah.
mean, and it's just that's the thing, right? It's fun.
Yeah, it's literally like a type of entertainment, and
Yeah,
I don't think
it is.
I don't think we'll ever get the answer.
It's kind of like the Inquirer.
Was that a?
Oh,
was that a
inquiring
newspaper?
minds want to know. Yes, it was like a tabloid.
Oh, okay.
And it would be like Alien Baby was on the cover of almost every.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but it would have a picture. They were usually pretty bad. Yeah, pretty bad quality. But people loved the National Enquirer and had subscriptions and
Wow.
yeah. It's like as humans, our entertainment is sort of still the same. It just changes in format,
Yeah.
you know.
And that's
And
all these
maybe
topics
topic.
are all these topics are to me are like entertainment.
Yeah.
Like they're super entertaining. I'm not like attached to
So
any,
you know
anyone.
what Paul always tells me, because like I'll go deep with some of this stuff or some of the other stuff that's out there, and then he's like, "Yeah." And at the end of the day, how does this impact your day?
Yeah, I know.
Like, what
yeah,
does anything change
Yeah.
for you?
I'll be having breakfast
believing
sometime.
something?
I'll be having
Yeah.
breakfast talking to Vero and like, you know, I'll say, "Oh, you want to see this thing I seen last night about stuff in Peru and tunnels, like going from Cusco to Peru?" She'll just like roll her eyes and go, "Okay, dude, come on, who said this? Get it out. I know you want to say it." And again, like, I'll, you know, be up all night, like not being able to sleep, but then I'll like, you know, get up the next morning and be like, okay, well, I got to go to work or got to
Yeah.
go train. Like,
Yeah.
it's not really going to affect my life.
No.
But it's just, yeah, it's
I
just
mean, maybe
entertainment.
one day it will.
Do you think?
but
Do you think there'll be disclosure?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
You know, I'm kind of in the same boat you are. Like, I love to listen to it.
Yeah.
I think certain things I can see,
Mm-hmm.
like one of the things I found so fascinating in Age of Disclosure was the notion of physics principles that apparently can't exist with gravity or something like that. You know, of course, this is me watching a movie here.
Yeah.
And maybe a couple podcasts, but the time-space continuum around the craft, right? The
Yeah.
bubble and how it, you know, how it works, how it modifies space and time. And
Yeah.
that is, and how it explains how they're able to fly like up to a rocket that's going 4,000 miles an hour or whatever, and it flies up to the rocket. They see it on technology. And then it flies to the side and it
Yeah.
shines a light,
Yeah.
according to these people. And then it goes above and it goes below and then it leaves. Like you shouldn't be able to catch up to a rocket,
Yeah.
Yeah.
given our
How fast are they going?
right and faster, obviously. And then how it goes in and out of the water, and that's been observed a lot by the military.
Yeah. So one of the main videos, or the first videos, was recorded at the Miami Air Show, because there was a lot of people like
wow.
videoing the airplanes. And then I guess a guy the next day was looking back through his footage and he noticed like a little flicker on the screen. So he played it like in super slow motion, and you see this little like something, like a little ball come out of the ocean and just straight up into the sky, like in a split second.
That's why people haven't seen it.
And
right?
I live in Miami now. So I'm always like looking at the water. I'm like looking at the water. And I do this thing. So my wife works for Telemundo and she works on a night show. So I'll be at home alone. like,
Right.
most nights. And I'll like look out the window and be looking at the sky, and I'll like look at the stars and I'll say, "Hey guys, I know you're there."
You start
I
talking to him.
"Come say hello. I'm friendly. I swear."
Right?
Like, and I'll do this
Who
like
knows?
most nights.
Maybe
and,
you'll make
yeah.
something happen.
Yeah, I think you can, like, if it's out there, maybe I
There
can
was
like
a
bring it towards
great,
me.
Weird alien virtual reality movie, and I think it was UK based. Oh God! Did anybody see anything that matches this description? And so you'd get the headset, and you'd put it on, and you'd have to play the game, and everybody. experienced. It was ultimately because this alien race had been contacted and they were on their way, but it was going to take them light years, right? Like but they're en route and they're communicating with us. And it's the technology that they use to communicate with us to find out who we are. Only the people who can figure it out can have this direct communication. Is this?
Alien Covenant in your utero?
No, I don't think that's the name of it.
In utero.
No, that's
Say it again. Three body problem. Yeah. It's awesome.
okay. Well, that's going on
Yeah.
after WrestleMania.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. It
Right
was,
after.
but and it's still at the end of the day a human story.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And it's like, but it's cool. It's like
Okay.
a fascinating concept.
yeah, I'm going to check that
I
one
hope
out.
I didn't give anything away.
I'll have forgotten anyway.
Okay. Good.
I also think like this idea of like sending like radio signals into space to like try and like
Also
make
in
contact.
this movie. Yeah.
But I think it's quite dangerous. Like
Yeah.
if I'm in the jungle, like at nighttime, I'm not going to be like going, hey,
Yeah.
you know,
Lion,
because
are
like
you
a
out there? Yeah.
tiger is going to come and eat me.
Right.
Right. Like that's kind of like what we're playing with, like by sending those radio signals out into
I
space.
agree. We don't know what's out there. We're our happy little blue-green planet.
And then some people, and then,
sure
you want to go to the craziest one, like the flat Earth stuff and like the firmament, and like you can't actually get out
See,
there.
I don't know
That's-
a lot of
yeah,
that.
I don't
haven't-
believe that
I
one
haven't
myself.
even.
That's one I don't
given
even
that one
entertain.
much.
I'll be honest.
Yeah, me
Yeah,
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come
Thank
on.
God. Phew, I was worried you were going to say, yeah, I believe that one too.
Yeah, no. No.
Yeah.
I haven't agreed to any of them.
Steph, did you watch Artemis take off?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It was impressive, huh?
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was a little disappointed they didn't live stream as much as possible. Like, like everything that was possible to live stream should have been live streamed, I think.
Like what? Like what did they miss?
Like the whole journey there should have been live streamed.
Yeah. Do you think it's like a lawsuit kind of thing?
I feel like it gives
Because
them-
God forbid something happens. Do you watch it live?
Well, yeah.
You know what I
Well,
that's,
like
uh,
the
yeah.
landing was, like we had
Yeah.
a bunch of kids sitting watching, and we're all like, I kind of hope nothing happens.
Right? Yeah. I mean,
But it was
I was in 4th grade when the Challenger blew up,
Yeah, I
Oh,
can't
yeah.
imagine.
and we were all watching.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, of televisions.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Did we talk about this?
No.
Really? We've recently discussed it, I think. Yeah. But yeah, I remember that. Christine McCullough, right? Yeah. And we all, like as a kid, right? You know what a teacher is. You're so excited for you.
Yeah.
There's a teacher up
Yeah.
there. That was very hard. So I think that's why they might not. I mean, that's my guess.
But still, we would have, if devil's advocate.
I'm not saying it's right.
No,
Yeah.
you seen Challenger explode live on
Yeah.
TV. And you would have seen Artemis if that had been the case because it was live on TV.
Yeah,
Right.
But
that's
what I'm
true.
saying is once they get out of that, like risky
zone?
element and they're like on the
Oh, just their
trajectory to the moon,
experience.
While they're
I
up
feel like
there.
that all should have been live
That would have
streamed.
been cool. That would have been cool.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They got to go back.
Is it
Do you
like,
think they've seen anything on the dark side of the moon that they're not allowed to tell us about?
it's a great question.
Because that's another reason why I wanted it live streamed. Now, I know you can't live stream from the other side of the moon, but
Could they just put cameras on the outside of
Yeah.
the shuttle?
yeah.
And share
My
that
theory is
footage.
that they can't edit a live stream. And if
Right.
there was any kind of orbs that showed up that like looked suspicious or weird,
No, I agree. I think there's all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
There's many, many reasons I could think
Yeah,
of
yeah,
as to why they wouldn't live stream.
It would have been really cool though.
It would have been. Yeah. And what is out there?
would you like to go to space?
You know, it's funny. I would like to say yes because I'm like a big
Yeah.
risk taker, and I do think it would be beautiful to see the Earth from space.
Yeah.
One of the things I loved was the one astronaut who seemed to have like a spiritual awakening on this journey, and he came back and was just so grateful for everything and saw humanity, like you were saying, the elephant's so close.
Yeah.
Like, we're all alone.
Yeah. I
on
think
this
it's like
planet.
the overview effect, they call it, where like you zoom out and you can see the whole Earth and see how
Yes.
fragile it is.
Yeah.
And like,
And like we are an ant colony,
there's-
right?
yeah, and
The
there's-
only thing we have is each other,
yeah. And like when you see the Earth from space, like there's no borders.
right?
There's
That's
no
right.
there's no colors, there's no religions.
No.
Like it's
And when you
just
get
like
that
a little place that
perspective,
we all live
right?
on. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's
I think it would be
It's so
something
beautiful.
Yeah, it'd be something if like everyone on the planet could experience that.
Yeah,
and it might bring us a little
you know
closer
what?
together.
It would if people would be willing to see it. Some people just aren't willing to look at it any differently, right? But
Well, some people don't even have the capacity to think about it because they're so busy struggling day
Right.
to day to
That's
survive
true.
and get by
That's true.
and make
Survival.
money to like
Yeah.
feed their kids
to
and
eat.
pay
Yeah.
mortgages and rents. So for some people, like I feel very lucky that I'm able to like have a comfortable life to
Yeah.
not have to worry about like day-to-day stuff and like entertain myself with these wacky ideas,
Right.
you know? Because
Right,
it's
but
really
you have
just
the
like
time to do that.
filling a void that like is there because I've had like incredible success in this business.
because you've been an incredible success in this business. And you've had incredible success. But I'm just saying, I'm highlighting where you are.
Well, I feel very fortunate for the life
Yes.
that I have. And that life affords me free time to like entertain these ideas where like my brothers like have to work
Right.
like nonstop
Right.
to like raise their kids and pay mortgages, and they don't have time to even entertain this. And if I say to my brother Owen, like, hey, did you hear about this S4 documentary? He said, no, dude. Like I was taking my daughter to dancing, then I was taking my son to football, then I was, you know, like,
right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like dealing with real life. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Big news, WWE and sports fans. The world's #1 sports fan festival, Fanatics Fest, is making its return to New York City. Fanatics is bringing you closer to the leagues, teams, superstars, and athletes you love across 4 action-packed days in July.
Meet your favorite WWE superstars, get your hands on exclusive merch, and interact with the biggest names in sports.
Then fans of the show can get a 10% discount by using Steph10 at checkout. That's STEPH, the number 1, the number 0 at checkout. So, I don't know, this is kind of a loaded question.
Yeah.
So if you don't feel comfortable or we feel like it's too sensitive, I don't have to ask it. Do you feel like you should feel guilty because you have this, extra time that your brothers don't?
Oh, I've had that guilt for a long time.
But do you think you should?
I've been thinking about this recently, and the guilt has been getting more prominent the longer my career has gone. And I think earlier in my career, when like you're chasing the dream and you're trying to be successful and
Right.
you're trying to make money to
You're
get
just
yourself
grinding
comfortable
away.
to get,
Yeah.
like that's, I'm sacrificing time with my family to like follow my dream, right?
Right.
And achieve these targets that I've set myself. And like when I've achieved more than I could ever have imagined in this business. And I've reached all these like targets and goals that I've ever imagined. Really, once I won the Universal title, like that one time.
Yeah.
That for me, that was the top of the mountain. And like, I know a lot of people say, oh, what if he didn't get hurt, whatever. But that's the highest you can get.
Yeah.
That's like a lot of people say, oh, he got hurt and he relinquished the title. That's like a tragedy. But like for me, it's a success story. Like I got to the top. So once I got there, and then like I became like financially comfortable like through the company, that's where I started to question like, why am I doing this now? Because I'm away from all the people that I love. Like my family are at home in Ireland. I'm
Right.
here in America, like wrestling. And it's before it was a trade-off of you're not with your family, but you're following your dream. Now I'm not with my family, but I have my dream and I don't need anything else here.
Right?
I don't need any more money. I don't need any more success. I don't need any more attention. So why am I doing it?
Why are you doing it?
I don't know. Like it's
Are you
it's-
driven to do it?
No, I'm driven to be in the ring and perform at the highest level every time I get in there. And I want to be in there, but I still don't know is that worth not being with family.
I know the
And
question.
I know there's going to be a point in my life where I'm definitely going to regret it. But I also know that my family will be upset with me if I gave up this to be with them. They'd be like, well, what are you doing here? Like, you should be wrestling while you
I
can.
think they'd want you to be happy. So you need to think about what makes you happy.
Yeah.
Because you bring whatever it is you're feeling, you bring that home, right? Like anybody.
Yeah, yeah.
And if what you're doing fulfills you and makes you happy, then when you are home, you're like a greater person to be around.
Yeah.
And whereas if you're unhappy and the only time you have with them, you're like, you know, you're not your best self because you're upset for whatever reason.
Yeah.
They can feel that too. So I would think that they would want you to do what makes you happy, but that's up to you to figure out.
Like I'm with my wife in the United States, and it's the two of us. She lives in her family live in Mexico City. My family live in Ireland, so we're kind of like here, like we've got our own little island, which is beautiful, and we've a great relationship. But there's certainly an aspect of like loneliness, like where we don't have a support system, and that's always the kind of the thing that I question. Like, should I be doing this job?
Finn, what if
And
you went to
sacrificing everything else.
AAA, you know, and you guys moved to Mexico and she could be with her family and you could like be a part of this now, you know, part of WWE? That's pretty fascinating.
It's super fascinating. But again, I don't know if I want to
you
give
want
up
to.
WWE.
Oh.
Right? Because I want to perform at the top. I want to be on the biggest shows. I want to be on WrestleMania. I want to be on SummerSlam. I want to be on Raw. But deep down, I struggle
Yeah.
daily with like what I'm giving up for that.
Right.
And it's not like I get so, I don't want to say jealous, like, but I'm so envious of the guys who have their families here in the United States.
Yeah.
And they just like fly home. On Tuesday morning after Raw, they fly home and they're with their kids and they're with their mom and they can go see their dad or whatever. Like for me and Vero, we just like come home from work, but our families are still far away.
So what's the solve on that? Like whose family would you go live near if
We don't have a solve. Well, the solve would be like 50-50. Like if I want, once I'm done wrestling, maybe do like a couple of months in US, a couple of months in Mexico, a couple of months in Ireland. That would be the dream.
well, there you go.
And I realize how like blessed I am to have that opportunity to do that.
So that's a plan,
Yeah, that's a plan for sure.
right? So then you can work backwards.
Yeah. I don't want this to come across like
No,
super
I
like
see.
depressing and sad because like
Well, I think
love
your
my
fans
job.
love you, so there will be some of that, you know, because they want you to love it, right? But here's where I think, here's what I hope.
Yeah.
No matter, and the company is different than it was, but no matter how much things change, what hopefully will never change is what we do in the ring. And hopefully what will never change is the culture of the people. Because it is, and I'm going to talk about this in my speech, but it is the most loving, supportive community I think that there is. And sure, there's a lot of hate on social or whatever, but for the most part, we come from all over the world and all different backgrounds, all different political affiliations, whatever they might be with anyone. And from Africa to, you know, Boston, Massachusetts, like we all love this business. And I hope and pray that our culture and community never changes. And I really don't think it ever will.
I can't see it changing.
Yeah. Because it is who we are.
Yeah. And I think like there's so many good role models like for me to look up to. And then now that I'm kind of like one of the older statesmen in the locker room, it's like my responsibility to like show those guys like the right way how to
Right,
how to
yeah,
act and
yeah.
how to be like in the business, like not in the ring, but like,
Right,
you know,
right. How to
so I
be a
feel like
professional.
we have enough good guys that can like show the next generation and the next generation. And no, I think the business itself is in a really good place. I'm just not sure where my place is
right,
in it.
because it's got to be right for you.
Yeah,
I mean, it does.
yeah.
And that's,
And I always kind of like imagined myself going back to Japan to finish my career in
Really?
Japan. Yeah,
That's
like
fascinating.
even when I didn't want to leave Japan, but I kind of wanted to roll the dice with WWE and give it a try. And like if I had a year at NXT and then it didn't work out, I would have happily went back to Japan.
wow. What do you love about Japan?
I like how everything is just exactly as you see it. There's no bullshit. Like, people are straight with you. It's yes or no answers, and everything's clean, organized. Maybe I was immune to the politics because I didn't speak the language so good. So like I was kind of like
Fair.
ignorant
Yeah,
to that
ignorant is
stuff, you know?
bliss, yeah.
And obviously, like when you look back on any time, like romantically, you always kind of like hold that up, like
Right, sure.
higher.
Yeah.
But
So you
but
fell in love there.
I fell in love
At some point.
I fell in love with Japan. Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Oh.
But I don't want to go back to wrestling in Japan. I don't think. I'd love to go back to Japan and spend
Right.
time there. But
Maybe it'll be one of your quarters.
maybe,
There we go. You needed
Yeah.
a fourth.
yeah. And when we go back with WWE, it's absolutely incredible. Like
Yeah.
to perform for WWE in Japan, that's the dream.
That would be awesome.
Maybe we can set up an NXT Japan, and
Now you're talking.
Yeah.
Now you're talking.
Paul might need a right hand man to run
You
it.
might.
Yeah, Konnichiwa.
You should you should mention that to him.
Yeah, me and Shinsuke, I think, will do a good
Yeah,
job
oh,
over
yeah,
there, right?
hell yeah. Oh man. That would be awesome.
Yeah. God, that would be incredible.
That would be
actually.
really cool.
Go back to my
you heard
dojo
it here
training
first.
days. Yeah. 500 squats out the gate.
There you go.
Yeah.
So tell me about that culture.
So I was 24 years old. I'd moved to my aunt's house in Boston to do like independent wrestling. And I got seen by a scout who said, "Hey, do you want to come and train with us in Los Angeles? We're affiliated with New Japan Pro Wrestling." I said, "Of course, I would love to go train." So I was training there about 2 months. And they said, "Hey, we like what you're doing. We'd like you to come and be a young boy for 3 months. And like, you won't wrestle."
And did you know what that meant?
Yes, I
Oh,
was
okay,
very
great.
familiar. Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, you'll
Not a
train-
good surprise.
Yeah. Basically, to be a young boy in wrestling in New Japan is kind of like to be an apprentice. So your role is really to clean the dojo, to clean the house, to wash the gear of the older wrestlers, which are called senpais, like your senior wrestler, and to train. So we would wake up every morning, we would clean the dojo, clean the ring, clean the house, clean the toilets, clean outside the street. Everything was very like military precision, right?
Systematic.
Yeah. From there, we would go into the dojo. We would start with 500 squats, 200 push-ups, some rope climbs. Then we would do like blow-up drills, like burpees and skipping. And then the wrestlers would come.
Skipping.
Yeah, like jump rope.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Because skipping is actually hard
It's hard.
to do.
That's I was picturing like a
Get older
line
and you
of
do it with your kids. You're like, damn, that's actually kind of a workout. I can picture you guys skipping around now.
Let's try.
So I'm sorry.
No. Yeah. So that was it. So I was kind of there to do like a 3-month like internship, like in New Japan. And after a couple of weeks of training, they said, "Oh, we'd like you to have a match." And I had my first match, and all of a sudden I'm on the shows now, but like I'm in the opening spot. And part of the culture was like, "Hey, you're not allowed to wear like any flamboyant gear. Like the young boys have to be very like kind of discreet." So it was
Understated,
like
yeah.
black boots, black tights. And I remember it was like the end of my 3-month like excursion there, and I was about to go home. And Liger, who was the booker at the time, came to me and said, "Oh, we'd like you to come back. Like, would you like to come back?" And I said, "Absolutely. Like, this is my dream." And 3 months turned into like 8 years. Wow. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And
That's awesome.
I thought I was going to stay there my whole career.
Did you learn the language?
I never like consciously studied a book, but like I picked up a lot.
Right,
Like, because you're immersed in
conversational.
it. Like,
Yeah.
So like, I could like, where's the train station? Like, where's the toilet?
Yeah.
Can I get some beers? Like,
Yeah.
simple stuff. But
Necessities.
Yeah. Like, like I knew how to tell the taxi driver how to take me home and stuff. So yeah. Yeah. And I thought I was going to stay there for my career. Then I came here. And it's weird because I always thought like England was going to be the biggest chunk of my career, doing 6 years there. And I thought like, oh, you'll do a couple of months in Japan and then just move home to Ireland. And then all of a sudden I'd done 8 years in Japan. And I thought like when I came to NXT, well, Japan's always going to be the biggest chapter of my career. I'm going to do like a year or two in NXT
Right.
and be finished. And now I think I'm 12, 13 years here with the company. So
So you never thought, I mean, you did though, right? You thought the main roster was, and becoming the champ, that was the end goal.
That's the end goal for everyone. That
Right.
starts in the
But
business.
did you
end.
not think that it was possible?
It was so far of a stretch of reality growing up in a small town in Ireland to
Right.
be WWE champion that my goal when I started training in England was simply to have one match. That was like my target.
Do you think that that's a good life strategy when you're, approaching something that you love to do it in chunks like that and to be forward looking but not so forward looking? Or do you think it's better to have your destination, and then do every little thing you can to
Look,
get
I know there's this belief of people like visualizing and like making your dreams reality by like picturing yourself holding the title and all. That's something I've never done.
Right. Yeah.
I've always been like, no, like, what's the next thing I have to do?
Right. You're
Like,
always
and
looking
I
one step ahead.
compartmentalize everything and like approach it like step by step. I've never like thought like, how do I get from A to Z? I would need to get from A to B first.
Right.
Yeah. And then figure out the rest.
Are you ready to hold WWE history in the palm of your hand? Topps is bringing you closer to the action than ever before with WWE Topps Now, highlighting the biggest matches and milestones from WWE shows and PLEs throughout the year. Topps Now is enhancing the fan experience by connecting collectors to the superstars and spectacles that ignite their passion. Featuring stunning event-exclusive photography, each card is made for the moment. And for some lucky collectors, that moment could become the pull of a lifetime. Along with serial numbered parallels, some Topps Now releases offer a chance at rare short prints, superstar autographs, and even pieces of the mat, gear, or other items used during the featured match. So which moments will you collect? With each card only available for a limited time, you won't want to wait to begin your Topps Now journey. Be sure to subscribe to the WWE Topps Now mailing list on Topps.com and follow Topps on all social media platforms so you never miss a single moment. Where did your artistic abilities come from?
Childhood, I was always like drawing and sketching and painting, and that was like by far like my strongest subject in school. I pretty much like flunked out of most classes except art.
You just weren't interested.
Yeah. And like
Do
I
you think
wasn't
it's
wasn't
the
a
way
bad
they
student.
taught you?
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's definitely truth to the statement that we've been taught the same way for like 100 years. Yeah. I mean, things have changed. We should.
Yeah, I think there
probably
should be a lot
change
more
that.
variety into the way kids are educated.
I mean, I know my mom is working very hard on that, and every state is working on that. But yeah, it's like there needs to be a wholesale change in how, and every individual learns differently. And how can AI help with that, right?
Yeah.
Where some kid's more advanced and gets a different direction than some kid who's struggling in whatever given subject, right?
Yeah.
So that everybody advances at their own level versus those at the top kind of getting bored because they've already learned it, and those at the bottom feeling like they never actually really learn it, so they're always
like,
behind.
Yeah, feeling
Yeah.
like less adequate than everyone,
Yeah.
right? Which
And
we
everyone
should
else
be,
seems to know what the hell they're talking about.
Yeah, but yeah, art was like the one thing that like I felt like I could express myself easily with. So like I would draw and doodle and paint, and like my art grades were great, and my like other grades were terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was there a particular was painting more of what you were into, or sketching, or
Probably I was best at like pencil drawing,
okay?
but like I did do some painting and stuff like that too.
Do you find yourself ever doodling on the road? Like, do you ever grab a sketchbook and?
Yeah, occasionally like I'll doodle
Yeah.
out like ideas for the demon or different stuff. You know what I'd love to do as a job in the company?
Okay.
Going forward.
I have no pull, but
Well, I'll keep it to myself then.
He's like, I'm not going to share this good idea.
No, I'm very interested in like how visually the show looks.
yes,
So like the screens, the lighting,
Yeah.
like how we present people.
the presentation of it.
I like the smoke and the fireworks and stuff like that. I'm very interested in that, and like how we could adapt that and change it and make it better and more like
Yeah.
interactive. I've always thought like we should have more beach balls in the crowd.
Well, we do
Yeah.
after WrestleMania, right? Typically, it's the UK crowd.
Yeah,
They come in, they do
yeah,
it.
which is quite ironic because like beach balls in England are not.
I know,
something,
right?
You
As
know, the
energetic
weather's
as
pretty
we're saying it,
terrible.
I'm like,
Yeah.
that is weird. Only in WWE.
Yeah.
I'm also impressed you called it soccer and not football.
I know. Well, I've been conditioned now. I've been conditioned.
Damn.
Yeah.
You have lived here a long time.
Depending on who I'm speaking to, I'll either say like rubbish or garbage, you know, and things like this, you know.
Like Seamus, you'll differentiate. You'll say rubbish.
Yeah, yeah. If I'm talking to Seamus, yeah, throw that in the bin. Throw that in the bin for me.
Yeah, and he knows what
but,
you're talking
yeah,
about.
If I'm
I gotta go to the
talking to
loo.
you, I'll say, yeah, can you
Yeah.
put that in the trash? I would never ask you to put something in the trash for me.
Oh no! Why not?
Except this podcast, maybe.
Oh no! You don't.
No,
like
just this
him.
episode. This episode. That wasn't a
You
shot.
don't
I'm
think
sorry.
it's a good episode?
Just throw
You
What-
just
it's
feel
just,
uncomfortable.
I just don't like talking about myself. so
Yeah,
that's-
but it's more your perspective on things,
Yeah.
right? Like this is that. I mean, it's however you want it to be, right? This particular pod and conversation is open,
yeah.
so you know.
I must say, and my wife will be happy I said this, that my wife absolutely adores you, and like she feels that you are responsible solely for the women's evolution.
Oh, God
Yeah,
bless
she
her.
says
Which
that all the
certainly
time.
I am not.
Yeah, and
you
she's
know,
ve-
that it took everybody, male and female, truthfully, to make that happen.
Yeah.
But that's so sweet of her.
Well, if it was a team effort, you were certainly captain of the team.
I was part of the team.
Yeah.
Great
Part
way
of
to
the
put it.
team.
Yeah.
But that's very sweet.
And she's very excited to see you get inducted into the Hall of Fame.
No.
Yeah.
Please tell her thank
Are you nervous
Hopefully I
about the
get
Hall
to
of
give her a
Fame?
hug.
Are you nervous about it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay, the
She's like,
tables have
let's
turned.
not
So
talk
we
about it.
only this week got into the acceptance part this week. And
Yeah.
so now I'm good and I'm excited, but now it's Thursday.
Yeah.
It's tomorrow.
Yeah.
So now I'm getting nervous
Yeah.
again. And my kids just got here and my mom and my girls are inducting me.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And it's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, and I told them, because they're all worried about what they're going to say, you know, and I'm like, guys, I don't care if you don't say anything. Just you being up there,
Yeah.
like representing who I hold most dear, you know? And Paul, he said he's going to sit there in the front row, and it's like, that's everything, you know?
Yeah. I think I would be more nervous for Hall of Fame than WrestleMania.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And it is a process, right? And it's funny because Paul asked me, because he interviewed me the other day, and he asked me, because he knows what it feels like, because obviously he's a Hall of Famer, and he said, did you find yourself starting to relive a lot of things you had forgotten? And I was like, yes.
I feel like
You
that's
know?
the best part about the speech writing. For
It
you,
is.
You like get to remember every moment you had to get to this place.
And it's crazy to
Yeah.
think about, really.
Your life
my
is
life.
wild.
It's wild. And it's so fun. I'm so blessed. What a wild ride.
And it's not over.
No, I know. It's not
Only
at all.
halfway there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. Totally. But it is still 50 years of my life. And
Yeah.
looking back on that and like all of these things that I just forget. You know, because they were just such a part of my life, my regular life.
And so often, like in this business, like we never look backwards, right? Because like there's always the next show so
Right?
soon.
Always.
And I always get like asked, like, "Oh, you happy with like what you've done in your career?" And like I always say no. Like I want the next thing.
Right,
I'm not looking
right.
that way. Like I'm looking this way. And like someday I will look back
Right.
and go, "Oh, that was cool," but like I'm not ready to look back yet.
No.
Yeah.
It's funny though. I just watched Sean's documentary,
Mm-hmm.
and he talks about being able to appreciate the moment.
Yeah.
And sometimes we're so busy moving forward
Yeah.
that we don't take in what's happening
Yeah.
when it's that real time.
Yeah.
you know, and I think that's important to try to do that as much as possible.
Yeah. I think it's also important, and this is something I don't do enough, and I'm trying to do more, is like actually like celebrate an achievement.
Yes.
You know, because like it kind of
Yeah.
like exclamation points it, you
Hell
know?
yeah.
And like,
Feel good about
yeah,
it.
and for the longest time, like I'd stopped going to the WrestleMania after party because just it's not my scene. I just don't want to be
Well,
in the
and you're
room with
raw the
people.
next day.
yeah, well, that too, right? I was just gotten beat up in front of thousands of people. But I remember last year, like it was the first time in a long time, I actually went to the after party, and it was. I remember that more than I remember WrestleMania, and it was just like such a good atmosphere to be around.
that's so
Yeah,
great.
Yeah. So I really hope there's an after party this year.
Yeah. I don't know even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll talk to TR about that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I could put it on my list.
Yeah.
For no
My
one.
list that doesn't go anywhere.
I do feel like that's a pretty good practice. Like when you hit 50, you should stop and reflect on.
Yeah.
Like that's a kind of a beautiful like pause and think about how great and maybe not so great and
Lessons you've learned.
Yeah.
How far you've come, really. Because we all make mistakes, you know, and we all hurt people along the way, unintentionally or intentionally, you know. But, you know, it should be a celebration when we get as far as we do, right? Like, life is a journey. And it's funny, I was going to ask you, I heard Diana Nyad, who I quote all the time, and she was this woman who swam from Cuba to Florida.
Okay.
And she started trying in her 20s. She wasn't successful until her 60s. She took a big break in the middle. But it was an incredible story. There's a book on it if you're interested. But her quote was, "It's not about who you become once you reach your destination. It's about who you become along the way." And I think that's so beautiful. And it's like we're all human. We're all learning. We're all growing, hopefully, on this journey. And we're gonna make mistakes.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, and we should feel good about ourselves and where we are and not have to feel any other way about it. You know? It's our life. We only have one life.
Yeah. Just enjoy it, right?
Enjoy it.
Yeah.
It goes so fast.
I think I'm very guilty of like putting off pleasure, like just saying like, I'll celebrate that in the future, or
Right.
when I'm retired, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Which in a lot of cases has to be the case. For example, to go to Egypt and Peru, you need like weeks, right? Which I don't
Sure,
have.
sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So I actually hope I make it to that point.
Unless, I don't know, you could maybe take a very well planned couple months or something. I don't
You
know.
talk to your husband
on
about
the
that?
I knew it. We're adding it to the list. Elise, will you put that on the list, please? Thank you.
item number 4.
Maybe we could do like a Netflix collaboration with Graham Hancock and Finn Balor.
Totally. Yes. Oh,
On my list.
add.
Add it to the
Yes.
list. Got it.
I like that one. Well, and
So busy.
and Paul and probably Logan.
Yeah.
Right? Like you guys are all
Yeah.
genuinely fascinated with it. That would be a really cool episode.
Yeah.
Because I find the celebrities that come in, like I saw, well, I don't want to bury anybody, but it's like,
Come on. Give
No,
us the
it's
juice.
like,
Come
but
on.
They're not
Think of the
engaging.
ratings. Think
They're
of the
not-
ratings.
Like, well, it seems like they're just not. They're not asking their best questions, and it's like, no, I know you. If you're on this show, clearly you are very interested in this and what's happening. So ask
Yeah, yeah.
some good questions. You know,
Yeah.
I know you guys would. It'd be fun.
Yeah, I got so many questions.
Yeah.
One of the YouTubers that are Ancient Architects who I've become very friendly with, I asked him, I said, like, so the Egyptians had the ability to like build these incredible tombs, like so precise, like aligned like the true north. But why wouldn't they build their homes and their schools and their public squares the same way, to the same spec, and we would still see them now?
Right. Is there not a gods versus?
Well, he would go into his own theories about like this was designed to last forever. and
The homes were not.
and
But
they
I
were-
see your point.
Yeah,
Right? Like, because if you were in that culture, you'd be like, no, I want one of those, please.
yeah. Well, if I can build this to die in, like I'm
Right?
gonna build a
Why
nice one to
wouldn't I
live
want
in
to
too.
live? Yeah. I don't know. And some cultures too, this life isn't supposed to be the life that you enjoy, right? That's on the other
What
side.
is this life even? Right?
Crazy.
I mean, that's a question.
That's a whole nother podcast.
Honestly, though, I love life.
Like sometimes I think it's just I'm now talking to myself. Like it's my own consciousness, just like talking to
Wow.
itself.
Okay.
And then like
You mean
someti-
when we're having a conversation, you feel like
I feel
that?
like this whole thing is created like in my consciousness, and like it's a projection.
Well, that's another theory. I've heard that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it only becomes physical if more than one person is engaging in the same belief.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard. So it becomes reality when you and I are creating it together. Right?
Yep. Yep.
If you buy into this
You
theory.
might be alone on this one.
I've read this too. I know exactly what you're talking
what
about.
about simulation theory? Are you into that one?
I don't know because I don't know it as the simulation theory. What's
So
that?
basically, like you remember, like when we were kids, they had Pac-Man, right?
Yeah.
And now we have Grand Theft Auto,
Okay.
right? So
Right.
like
Upgrade. Right.
right. So it's obviously moving in a direction where it's very hard to distinguish reality from a video game,
Sure.
right? So if we fast forward like 50 years, we could potentially be able to create this. So what's to say that this hasn't been created already?
Right, and we're just
this
playing it
and
out.
we're like bots in a software.
Who's the non-playable character?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Are they stuck walking
So
into
I'll
the wall?
tell you, it's crazy because my kids,
Yeah.
my youngest, part of the lingo now is like be main character energy or she's an NPC.
Yeah, I've heard
Like,
about this too. Yeah.
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 They speak in video game jargon.
Wow.
But in terms of non-playable character, like, and it doesn't have to mean it's an insult. It just means you're there, but you're not really part of my story. Like you're
Yeah.
you don't have to be involved in this.
I like to
You
be
said
an
who's
I
the
like to be an
non-playable
NPC.
character.
in
I
life.
pointed at myself, and I take it back. Damn it! I didn't mean it.
No, see?
I didn't know. I didn't know the lingo.
And Ryan Reynolds did some movie, Free Guy,
Oh yeah.
and it was actually a really good movie. And he was a non-playable character who became like he woke up or whatever.
Yeah.
And he was like challenging why he did the same thing every day the same way and why do I do this? And like it was really interesting.
Do you believe in free will or?
I mean, I do, but it all depends. Like, so if you go back to the Triple H theory
Yeah.
of what I experience every day,
Yeah.
then yes, I believe in free will.
Yeah.
And I know when it's taken away, right? And I don't like that feeling
Yeah.
either. So I believe that in my current existence, I believe I have the ability to choose whether or not I want to do or believe in something.
Yeah.
But it has consequences, whatever my decision is.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah,
not like
I'm
free
not-
will and just do whatever you want.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be in Egypt right now if I had free will.
Well, you could teleport there.
Beam me up.
The Luxor is down the street.
It's
Yeah.
true. It's
saying.
true.
I know.
Yeah, we could call Chris Angel.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Actually, last year I went to the Luxor just to like look
We
around.
did? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you see his show?
No. I just went inside to look around at the.
And was it satisfying?
No.
Only on the outside.
Yeah, from the outside it looks cool. I was like asking the internet, like, is that the same size as the pyramids? Trying to like get perspective.
Right. And
it's
what
not,
did it
not
say?
quite as big.
Like a
Not quite as
fraction?
big. Yeah, I was maybe 70%.
Oh.
I can't remember exactly.
Bigger
but
than I would have thought.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
I mean, I guess these hotels are huge.
They're big.
Huge.
It took me like 15 minutes to walk from my room to here.
Right? Work up a sweat.
Yeah,
Just get your steps in.
I got 10,000 steps already today. It's like lunchtime.
That's the best part.
Jackie went from our room to the lobby and back, and it was 3,000 steps.
Wow, really?
Isn't that crazy? 3,000 steps. Whoa.
Are you a steps counter?
No, I've never done it. It's annoying to me is I got an Apple Watch for a little bit.
Yeah.
And I didn't like not having I didn't like having a device on me telling me what to do all the time, telling me to
Yeah.
stand up and breathe.
Oh, does it do that?
Yes.
Fuck you, Apple
When you're
Watch.
sitting, close all your rings.
Yeah.
I,
No, but so I stopped using it. Sorry. I stopped using it. And now my fitness tracker doesn't realize that I don't have an Apple Watch anymore. And every day it says, you're so close to closing your rings. And I'm like, I trained today.
yeah.
You know, it makes me
yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
mad, but I can't delete that off my phone.
I'll handle that.
No, it won't let you. It's one of the ones that's.
Oh,
that
it's like the help.
Yeah, it won't go away.
Or the, yeah.
You can maybe just turn the notifications off.
Maybe you could help me.
Like I said.
It drives me crazy. I hate it.
The
Well,
thing
my
is,
phone won't update. Maybe you can. My software won't update for months. So
I'm
maybe you
not-
can help me with that.
I'm
too.
not a tech person, but
Well,
I
maybe
just,
one of you guys can.
yeah.
Yeah,
Somebody here
I'm
definitely
definitely
can.
not
Yeah.
the person to ask.
Every morning I wake up and it says your software has not updated in like 6 months. I'm like,
Really?
okay.
So I get the fitness app at night, and you get the
Yep.
in the morning.
Yep.
Now we'll have that. Every time I see my fitness tracker
Yeah.
now, I'll think of your software.
That would be on it.
The thing with the watch though is it becomes, or at least for me, like every day I need to close the rings. I need to hit 10,000. Like it's
Right.
It's
Yeah,
kind
it
of great,
kinda
but I'm
But
becomes
I
a game,
can't
right?
do it.
and then like there's like a Sunday where I'm alone with the two kids and I haven't like worked out and I'm 9,000 something and I'm in the bedroom pacing before bed and I'm
I'm
like,
like this.
what am I
am I
doing?
doing?
Like
Yeah.
it's sick and I'm like 10.
Yeah.
Like it's kind
Well,
of
you're kind of like a machine, though. I mean, she is. Like, if she is set to task, those tasks are happening.
I am a
like,
robot.
no matter what. And they are getting done and completed, or she can't deal
Function?
with life.
sorry, was that me?
Are
Yesterday.
you guys list makers?
Elise
Like I know you
is.
joke about no, because I'm a super list.
No,
guy.
I have
need
to
it
make
all on a
lists
list. Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it doesn't get done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My wife
But I
rolls
don't
her
have
eyes
to
when she
have-
sees me making a list. She says, "Oh, you and your lists." So, well, do you want things done or not?
Yeah. That's the only way.
I
They get
remember my parents saying to me as a kid that I was making a list to make a list. And I kind of was like, oh, this is probably a little bit much. Like I literally was like update notebook list and was like, what?
Oh wow.
On a sticky.
That
Maybe a
is
little
extreme.
OCD.
No.
It works, okay? It works.
So, wow, Finn, this has been a very unexpected and awesome interview. I've really enjoyed our
Yeah.
conversation.
I've really
Because,
enjoyed it
I've always
too.
wanted to get to know you a little bit better. You and Paul have always had like a good relationship,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then there was a bus ride with Aurora.
Yes.
Yes.
And a
to
plane trip.
Buffalo, I
Yep,
think.
yep.
Plane.
Oh, and a plane. Plane and a bus?
Yeah, plane and a bus, yeah.
All right. And I remember the first time I met you at NXT because for some reason I had your list of names. And I was like, hey, it's so great to meet you. And, blah, and I've got this list of names for you. And I think it maybe caught you off guard. I'm not sure.
It definitely caught me off guard.
Because your reaction was like, so like, I didn't,
I'm like,
I clearly
where do I
like,
put my hands? Do I-
and I didn't mean to put you in a bad spot, and then I felt real bad that like I put you on the spot.
Well, it was kind of a funny time because I came into NXT and like obviously had to like change my character, change my name, change everything. And it had been a couple of weeks being at the Performance Center like without yourself and Paul being there. And like I was dealing with like people that were employees of the Performance Center and they were giving me their input. And I'm thinking like, who is this guy? Like he doesn't really, I don't know him. He doesn't know me. I've been doing this 16 years.
Right.
Does he even know
Know
this
who I am?
business?
Yeah.
And it was just very confusing and very like I didn't know who the boss
And this was
I
for
did-
weeks.
It felt like weeks. It could have been 2 weeks.
Where
right?
were you?
Yeah.
Where were you?
And I remember like the first TV taping I was at when you and Paul were there, everything became like so much more clearer. It was just like I knew who to speak to get the answers. Like everyone was like, maybe, maybe. Let me check. Let me ask. Let me see what they say. But then I
Frustrating.
just had like a
Clear line.
yeah.
Yeah. Always better.
Much better.
Much better.
Much better.
Cut out the middleman in all
I actually got a funny
scenarios.
story.
Okay,
Yeah,
please.
which I don't think I've ever told in public.
Oh, really? Oh, drum roll.
So we're in Full Sail, and we're in like that parking area at the back of Full Sail,
Yep,
like,
I know
which
that
was kind
area.
of like the outside of Gorilla, like the backstage.
Right. And then there was like the other school where there was the auditorium.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then behind that, the movie set.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm between the auditorium and Gorilla.
Okay.
And I'm talking to Mr. Regal and to Paul. And I guess Sami Zayn is over in the background, like, just observing, because we're good buddies and he's kind of observing. And I'm talking with Paul and we're having a good conversation. I said, I've got all these ideas and blah, blah, blah. And he said, oh yeah, just text me them anytime. And he gives me his number. So I take out my phone and I put in the number. Then like, as I walk away and I go back over to Sammy, he's, did you just get Triple H's number? I'm like, yeah, he just gave me his number. He said, whoa, bro, I'm so proud. It's like, when you see your friend at the bar getting the number from like a really hot girl. And like, I was so proud for you, bro.
That's hilarious.
Do you know what's funnier is that's exactly what I thought of when you were telling the story.
Yeah.
With minus the Sami Zayn
Yeah.
part. That's so funny.
Yeah, and everything became like a lot easier from that point forward when I just had like a direct line of
Right.
communication. There was
Well,
no like
and you
middlemen.
knew he had a clear vision and definitely
Exactly.
knew who you were and brought you in for a reason. And
Yeah.
here's what it
Yeah.
is.
Because I remember also that same day, it might have actually been the same conversation that led to the phone number exchange. Was when I signed with WWE, everyone said, oh, you're going to be the Irish Leprechaun, you're going to be Hornswoggle's tag team partner, you're going to be a cartoon, like you can forget about doing all those body paints, you can forget about all that stuff. And so then I'm at the Performance Center, there's no real answers, no one's really in charge, so everyone's kind of saying maybe this, maybe that. So I'm just doing my training and keeping my
Right,
head down.
right.
And then when I finally meet Paul and have the conversation, we're talking back and forth, and we're with Mr. Regal, talking about just like wrestling and Japan. And then like Paul just kind of like folds his arms and he says, so tell me about this body paint. And I remember just going, okay, maybe we
Yeah.
can do it here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's how kind of it got started.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
But what's the original body paint?
So the original concept behind the body paint was I'd been squeaky clean white meat babyface in Japan for a long time. I'd recently turned heel and I was against a new up and coming babyface, Kota Ibushi, who's an incredible athlete. And it was Wrestle Kingdom, which is the WrestleMania of New Japan. And I'm in a singles match against him. And my idea was that I wanted to be like light versus dark, like good versus evil. And my idea was he wears like white gear. So then I thought like, wouldn't it be cool if like it looked like from the people who are way up in the back, it's just a baseball stadium, if it looked like he was wrestling against a shadow. So I was just gonna like paint myself completely like head to toe black paint. So it looked like from the people far away, he was wrestling a shadow. And in the time that I came up with this idea and we actually executed it, it morphed into like more of a demon look than a shadow. But that's kind of where the idea was spawned from.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
It came from being a shadow.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to figure out ways of taking away what the fans recognized as the babyface. So the first idea was like wear a bodysuit, but Justin Thunder Liger wore a bodysuit. So I
Right.
didn't want to go that way. And then that was kind of, so what if I paint myself? And that was it.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So it's just-
Have you ever gotten into mythology?
Yeah. So actually, the name Finn Balor is based in mythology because Balor is the one-eyed demon king from Gaelic folklore, and Finn McCool is it's very similar to David versus Goliath, where Finn McCool is the David in this story, and he slays the one-eyed demon. So I put the two
The
together.
two together.
Together.
Yeah. Because I remember that list that you're
Yeah.
talking about of names.
Yeah. You
And-
didn't love them.
No, but and you know what? It's super funny.
scared of
I've
you.
never said this to anyone else. One of those names, and Paul was especially leaning towards this name, was Liv.
Really?
Liv.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, he's anything but consistent.
Yeah, and I can't remember other names that were on there. I had actually Rue was RUX was on there.
Oh, I think actually I remember that.
Yeah, but then
That probably comes up.
Paul said no, people think of RuPaul.
Oh.
Yeah, I remember him specifically saying that.
was thinking
You guys
of-
look a lot alike.
RuPaul? I don't even know who he is.
Oh yeah, no.
Is it a drag queen or something?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yes,
Like
and he's
the-
African American and like
Okay.
like a big person, big personality.
Oh,
like
yeah, just like
could
me.
not be more opposite.
He's like, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's funny.
Do you remember any names that were on there?
not really.
Oh, McGregor was on there.
Really?
And this was before Conor had like really blown up. It was actually, he'd had the fight in Boston where he won, but he injured his knee.
Okay.
And it was just after that. And I remember thinking, no, this guy's going to be a megastar. And I don't want to have like the same like name as.
Would you love to have a match against him?
Oh, absolutely.
Right, that would be a good one.
Absolutely,
I
yeah.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you be on his side? Would you be the devil on his shoulder?
I think I'd definitely rather be on a side than,
Yeah.
than stand face to face with him, that's for sure. And I want it in a wrestling ring, not in a cage.
Got to be on your terms.
Yes.
Yes. You write the rules. Well, this has been really awesome.
It's been super fun.
Thank
yeah.
you so much. Yeah, I've loved.
I do hate talking about wrestling. And we didn't talk really about wrestling at all. Yeah.
Well, and so actually, I do have another question. Sorry, this cough has
Yeah.
been a problem the whole time.
Yeah.
I've known where to hold it. I've held it. This
Yeah.
hand. I put it here. Switched it. Try to drink it like around the microphone. It's just been awkward the whole time. I see these guys cutting. Like I go to take a sip, I see it's ISO on you.
Yeah.
So if this is a simulation,
Yeah.
and it is your simulation, what are you hoping to happen? How do you want it to end? What does this conversation do for you? Why is it in your simulation, do you think?
I would just like to end my simulation, leaving the simulation better. So like, I was
so you
maybe
have the ability to improve it.
I was maybe like the software update that I can't get on my phone. That,
Okay.
That like fixed a lot of this shit that we're dealing with.
Huh, is that possible? If it's already, is it possible to break out of the simulation, and do you have to break out of it to make the change?
Do you know what? Talking about breaking out, when I was in Japan, I used to like get so claustrophobic in the backstages because we were much smaller. There was one arena called Differ Ariake, which was like one side of Tokyo, but it was kind of on Tokyo Bay kind of area where the river is and stuff. And I'd go out like a fire escape where there was like a fire escape steps, and I'd stand on the fire escape and I'd look up at the stars because I'd try and like disassociate myself from all the chaos inside, right? And just like kind of breathe and settle down and try and get calm before I had to wrestle. And I used to look at the stars. I used to say, like, the only thing that's holding me here is I believe that gravity works. And if I don't believe that, if I believe I can fly up into those stars, I can do it.
Wow.
And I used to like stand there going like, come on, you can fly.
Fly.
You can fly. Gravity's not real. You don't fly. Now, I never flew up,
Right?
but it does help me like get more calm to like disassociate from like all the rules that we like impose on ourselves. Like you have to sit up straight. You have to,
Right?
dress nice. You have to do all these different things where you don't really have to do anything.
Right. It's up to you.
Yeah.
Well, you do look great, though. I appreciate you dressing up.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, this was awesome.
All right. Thanks so much, guys. Thank you. Yeah.